Urgent! Now comes the crucial moment, my friend. This is crazy, and I've managed to uncover highly exclusive details. I'll share everything with you. Things that haven't been revealed to anyone yet. Know that on our channel, nothing about the Los Angeles Chargers escapes our notice. But my friend, if you truly love the Bolts, leave a like. I hope you're already subscribed to our channel because I'm bringing you this crucial information right now. Let's get straight to the point. The 2025 NFL season hasn't even started yet, and the Los Angeles Chargers backroom is already on fire. The team faces serious dilemmas that could completely change the course of the season's first few weeks. From unexpected injuries to reinforcements that may or may not arrive, every decision will determine whether the Bolts will have the strength to compete at a high level right from the start. And believe me, the situation is far from simple. Let's dive into all the details because what happens now could dictate the Chargers' future in 2025. Chargers fans have barely had time to get excited about Najee Harris's arrival when they already face a worrying scenario. The running back could start the regular season on the dreaded NFI, non-football injury list, sidelined by an eye injury caused by fireworks. A cruel irony for such an important player, who has barely worn a team jersey and is already facing personal and professional drama. According to Daniel Popper of The Athletic, Harris has even returned to practice, but without participating in contact activities. Progress is being made, but it's too slow to guarantee a Week 1 appearance. The problem isn't just physical. In addition to regaining his vision, he needs to adapt mentally to the Chargers' new offense, an offense that demands quick reading and complete confidence, something nearly impossible if his vision is still compromised. If Harris doesn't show significant progress, the natural course of action for management is to place him on the NFI list. This would free up space on the 53-man roster, allowing him more time to recover without rushing, but also leaving an immediate hole in the backfield. And that's where a name that could become a protagonist comes in, Omarion Hampton. A first-round pick in 2025, Hampton could be catapulted straight to stardom. The problem? Behind him, the options don't inspire much confidence. Hassan Haskins and Kamani Vidal combined for just 244 yards on 77 carries last season. They're useful players to build the roster and contribute on special teams, but they don't seem ready to take on a heavy offensive load. This leaves Hampton under the spotlight and perhaps overwhelmed. And there's another ace up his sleeve, Raheem Sanders. The undrafted rookie impressed during the preseason and could earn the coaching staff's trust. He already appears ahead of names like Nyheim Miller-Hines and Jarrett Patterson in the competition for a starting spot. Now the question that's keeping fans awake at night remains, will the Chargers rely on the youth of Hampton and Sanders, or will they look to the market for another safety? The answer could define the team's offensive identity in the early rounds. And this question directly connects to another critical point for the team, the offensive line, which without solid reinforcements could put even more pressure on this group of running backs. The Los Angeles franchise saw Rashawn Slater, considered a true pillar of protection and one of the most consistent players on the roster, suffer a serious patella injury. The diagnosis was cruel. The season ended before it even began. For a team that relied on the solidity of its line to support both the running game and quarterback protection, losing Slater is like removing the foundation of a building still under construction. The front office moved quickly, trying to stop the bleeding by signing David Sharp. However, fans immediately realized that this wasn't a solid solution. Sharp arrives much more as a practice squad, someone who can build a roster and help with rotations, but he's far from being seen as a reliable starter. It's like putting a bandage on a deep wound. It helps momentarily, but it doesn't solve the core problem. Given this scenario, the Chargers' hope lies not in splashy signings, but in a strategic moment in the NFL that often changes fortunes. Roster cuts at the end of August. All teams must reduce their rosters to 53 players, and it's precisely during this process that opportunities arise. Talented players or experienced veterans end up free agency, often due to contractual issues or excess options at a position. It's at this point that the Chargers can find the reinforcement they so desperately need. One name already emerging behind the scenes is Tyre Phillips, currently with the Washington Commanders. He's not a name that excites fans at first glance, but he carries a wealth of experience that makes all the difference. Direct connections to the coaching staff, a Los Angeles native. Phillips was selected in the 2020 NFL Draft by the Baltimore Ravens, precisely when Joe Ortiz, the Chargers' current general manager, was still the director of personnel in Baltimore. What's more, Greg Roman, now the Chargers' offensive coordinator, was running the Ravens' offense during that period. This familiarity can accelerate any adaptation process and puts Phillips a step ahead of other options that might emerge. His career, however, has been marked by ups and downs. He earned a starting spot in his rookie year, but a persistent ankle injury hindered his development. Then came the hardest blow, a torn ACL in Week 1 of his second season. This injury virtually ended his time in Baltimore and forced him to bounce around teams like like the Giants and Commanders. Still, he showed positive flashes as a pass blocker, a skill that could be vital for a Chargers lacking stability. The numbers prove there's value in his game. Pro Football Focus rated Phillips 64.5 in pass protection, a higher performance than Trey Pipkins, who finished last season with a 63.8. It may seem like a small difference, but in a league where every detail determines games, any improvement is significant. Of course, Phillips isn't a game changer. He doesn't have the star profile fans desire, but he could mean the difference between collapse and stability. In a roster pressured by injuries, having someone who already understands the offensive system and can contribute immediately, even as a rotational piece, would be a considerable relief for the coaching staff. But the big question remains, is there an even more impactful solution on the horizon, a name that can truly transform the Chargers' offensive line? This is where the next chapter of this fan-exciting news emerges. Throughout the offseason, one name has been persistently on the minds of Chargers fans: Brandon Sherf. The veteran guard, with vast experience and a career marked by consistency, seemed the perfect solution to add immediate depth and quality to the offensive line. With every rumor about reinforcements, Sherf's name resurfaced, and many fans couldn't understand how the front office could overlook what seemed like an obvious move. For weeks, criticism rained down on the management, accused of neglecting the weakest part of the roster. The answer to this mystery, however, only came to light in August and took everyone by surprise. Sherf was already retired. Yes, he had told teams that he would no longer play in the NFL back in the spring, but the information only became public months later. This completely changes the narrative. It explains why the Chargers never opened concrete negotiations and, in a way, absolves the front office of the criticism it had been receiving. It wasn't carelessness or a lack of vision, but rather a circumstance that had been hidden from the general public. It's true that Sherf, even in his veteran form, wouldn't solve all the problems. He's always been more solid in pass blocking than in the running game, a trait that perhaps wouldn't have been as well suited to the physical, heavy-handed style Jim Harbaugh likes to implement. However, even with these caveats, there's no denying he would have been a significant addition. In 2024, Sherf posted a pass blocking grade of 74.5 according to Pro Football Focus, a number that would easily rank him as the best guard on the Chargers roster in that regard. That alone would justify the fans' excitement. Now, with his retirement confirmed, options are becoming scarce. Elite offensive linemen simply don't appear on the market overnight. The Chargers will have to rely on roster cuts from other teams at the end of August, or perhaps even seek an unexpected trade. Any reinforcements that arrive in this scenario will likely play a supporting role, not a starring role. For fans, it's up to them to accept that Sherf's absence wasn't a management error, but it still leaves them with the bitter feeling of a missed opportunity. He could have brought experience, stability, and leadership at a time when the offense desperately needs confidence. And while the offensive line searches for answers, the drama connects to another area, the backfield, which is suffering in the absence of Najee Harris. The rookies will have to carry a greater load, and without a reliable line, the pressure only increases. It's as if every part of the offense is caught in a chain of uncertainty, and if that chain isn't strengthened, soon, it could snap early in the season.